and I think we can, but I'll need your help as we go through this. This is a little bit different in that when you have a retreat or summit, usually they're 2 to 3 days, and you can spread it out and do more fun things and you know, more interactions, even when teaming up with two and talking about some topics and sharing information. So we're not going to really have an opportunity to do that, but I'm hoping we have a follow-up and we can do some additional things in terms of what has come out of this meeting. I wanted to just do a couple very quick icebreakers, however, so here's the first one. If you would think about this one, it takes a couple minutes. I had the benefit, and it was such a great experience for me to sit down with each one of you, some up to an hour or over, and just talk and you know, about around the questions. And one of the things that you were willing to do is share with me some background information. I'm not including any of that. That was just a conversation between the superintendent and me as I was trying to get to know you. However, what I'd ask you to do is think of one thing, because I learned a lot. Think of one thing that you'd like to share with all of us that probably no one knows about you. So for example, I love to sail. I don't know if that's ever come up anywhere, but I started when I was 5 years old, my little boat, and now I have an 18-footer, and put it in various lakes. So when when I have an opportunity, which hasn't been for quite a while now, it's sort of been parked out and covered up for a long time. Eventually, I hope to get back to that passion, you know, a little more balance, occasionally, maybe at least 3 or 4 times a year, and get out sailing. So that wouldn't come up probably in any conversation. It won't show up in a resume, and unless you happen to be talking about something on water, I might say, oh, you know what? So that's the kind of thing. So if you could think about that, one thing that probably no one knows about you. Jinx, can I start with you?
Sure. I used to restore old Glenwood cook stoves, the kind with the nickel trim, and used to search out the parts and redo the stoves and make sure they were safe and yeah, re-nickel and all of that.
Wow. Why didn't I know you 20 years ago?
That's not easy.
Because we had when we bought our house, there was an old cook stove in our kitchen. We used to use it to heat the kitchen and cook on. But it was getting old. It was kind of the firebox needed some work, so we ended up selling it to John Thick.
Yeah.
I would have loved to keep it.
Those are the kind of things that we learn. Paul?
Well, you would never know it, but I ran track all through high school and ran since then. My goal was still to run Boston Marathon.
All right. Well, what was the event? Was it distance running?
Usually 5Ks. I ran one marathon, but that was years ago.
But you had that memory.
Wow.
I still have the pain, too.
Yeah. Can I ask? Because I was a runner, and I was lucky enough to be the state champ, so I didn't know I was fast. What did you do to train?
To train?
Yeah.
Actually, before I ran the marathon, I did not run one time 3 months before. This was in Omaha. It's 100 degrees in the summer. And the race was in the fall. I did not run. The only thing I really did to train was the night before. I had about 4 beers and stocked up on
Get you covered. The reason I ask is because being a runner, I'm paying the price today. Because I didn't know any better, and I wore a 20-pound weight belt and 2.5-pound ankle weights, and ran 10 miles a week, or 10 miles every other day. So that when I took that stuff off, you know, I was very quick. The problem is I got older. And so the pounding of the knees and the ankles and all that stuff, my father kept telling me, he was a surgical podiatrist, that would catch up with me. And he was right. So now I use an elliptical. I can't really run on the roads. Yeah. Rich.
You choose well.
Go ahead, Marjorie.
Okay, Marjorie.
In my previous life, I was a childbirth educator.
Really?
Lamaze classes. Well, I can't say Lamaze because it wasn't strict Lamaze. It was childbirth preparation. I taught at Mary Hitchcock Hospital in Hanover. I taught at St. Joseph's, I think, in Nashua, and Catholic Medical Center in Manchester. I did that from the time I was pregnant with my son until he started school.
So you got a bit of a
And I
medical.
was present at several births,
Mhm.
including a cesarean. It was quite an experience.
Yeah. I saw one of those once, I almost fainted. It wasn't pretty. That's great. Terry? I'll come back to Richard.
I find weeding a garden very therapeutic.
Oh, I got one you can do.
Sure.
I have a lot of therapy for you.
Good old Terry.
When you find time to do it, but I mean, I can just put on, my wife has got me for an iPod now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I put that on, well, 2 or 3 hours, I mean, it's very helpful. Helps the garden too.
Rich?
I like to cook. I love to cook.
You've been doing that for a long time.
Well, when we first got married, well, I'll be back on with my father. My father used to cook a lot when I was growing up. My father was about 50%, well, 50% my father, 50% my mother. And when my father passed away, we all found out that it was much more than that. My father was a much better cook than my mother, because we'd go over there to eat, and boy, somehow doesn't taste as good.
Yeah.
So, but no, as I've gotten older, I've cooked more. I mean, during the summer, my wife doesn't cook. I mean, it's
Yeah.
mostly barbecuing and grilling and stuff, so I do all of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, she bakes, but I tend to cook more. I love to do it.
There's something nice about going out on the grill, I guess, getting back to primitive instincts, you know, getting that fire going and throwing the things on, cooking
Well,
outside.
Like when we had the pulled pork there.
Yeah, that's good.
I really enjoy doing that.
He brought that for lunch too, today.
No, we'll be talking about that later on. I'm gonna save the second icebreaker until after we do come back from lunch, just to get us settled in again, if that's all right with you. Couple things on the ground.